Hi everyone! Welcome to our first Saturday special episode of Queentuhan!
Queentuhan!
Happy Pride everyone! So just
Happy
to quickly
Pride!
introduce Queentuhan once again, if it's your first time watching us, this is special because we usually have our episodes on Tuesday. So my name is Carla Lazardo, and I'm here with Pia Wurtzbach and Bianca Guidotti. And the reason why we're having this today is because we all know it's Pride Month, and Pride March was initially supposed to be scheduled today. But everything had to be moved online dahil nga we're dealing with a pandemic now. So we really wanted to go online and hold this special episode because even if we're at home, diba? Like we can still protest, we can still celebrate for equal rights, rights to love, equality for everyone, loud and proud through our online platforms.
Agreed. And I'm so excited that we're doing this first time natin magsa-Saturday special episode. I know that last time we already talked about Pride briefly, but then marami pa tayong pwedeng pag-usapan at marami pa tayong dapat usapan pa, especially with all that's happening around yung nakaraan na linggo. So, let's continue the discussion. Let's continue the celebration. Let's continue these dialogues. And that's why we're here again with another Pride episode.
Yeah, so we're very, very excited for today's Pride episode. It's definitely, ano na siya, very holistic na. You know, we really researched on our guests today, and they're definitely very, very qualified and very much involved with Pride as well. So I'm super excited for you guys to meet them.
Yeah.
So just inviting everyone, hello to everyone who made the time to join us for our special episode. So inviting everyone to really open your hearts and your minds. Today will be really a learning episode about a lot of the different issues na hinaharap ng mga members ng ating LGBTQIA plus community, especially here in the Philippines. So we're really, really excited to kick off the discussion. So without further ado, let's bring in our two guests for today, starting with freelance writer and marketing consultant. I was gonna say marketing master kasi naman ka. And Trustee of Metro Manila Pride. Let's give it up for Thysz Estrada.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone.
We're so happy to have you here. And actually, it's the first time rin. Marami tayong first today for Saturday. First time that we have two guests on our show because we also have Miss International Queen, Trixie Maristela. She was the queen ng 2015 and is still very much a queen in influencing the LGBTQIA plus community here in the country. So we're very happy to have Thysz and Trixie on the show today. Hi, Trixie.
Hello.
Hi, Trixie.
Hello.
Okay.
Mabuhay!
So
Thank you so much for being here.
Maraming salamat. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this Saturday special episode with us. We feel like 1 hour really isn't enough to tackle everything. So we need to have more of these conversations. And we're so glad that you guys agreed to speak with us and our audience today. Kumusta naman? Magkumustahan muna tayo.
Okay naman. So happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Yes.
Yeah, happy Pride. And thank you as well for inviting us and giving us this time first and foremost, and this space to have a chat, have a discussion with like relevant matters, especially this Pride Month, right, Thysz?
Okay.
Yes, and thank you so much, from me and Trixie for giving this platform, sharing your platform for us to be able to talk about current issues. Of course, we're celebrating Pride Month, and today in the Philippines, we are having the Pride March and Festival, but it's online. So right now there are things that are happening already with Metro Manila Pride on the lead, and I hope everyone can join that today for the rest of the events for today. So, but tayo muna. Mag-usap-usap muna tayo.
Yes, actually, I wanted to ask more about all the Pride activities because it's nearing the end of the month. So today, there's lots of things going on, but all throughout the month, ang daming iba't ibang mga activities. Can you tell us a bit more as part of the organization about the challenges and how you guys adapted, given that we can't really be outside of our houses right now, and everything has to be done virtually.
So basically what we did as an organization is to pattern what's been the prevailing setup of Pride in other countries then, So of course, bawal tayo ng mga large gatherings. So we cannot have the Pride March. As just a background, the Pride March since I think 3 years ago started to have such a huge attendance. So we started at groundbreaking 10,000 attendees 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago, I think it was it started with 7,000 and 10,000 and then 25,000, and then the last year 70,000 attendees in the Marikina Sports Complex. The Metro Manila Pride event is actually the biggest Pride March in Asia. So in the entire Asia, the Philippines mounts the biggest Pride March and festival. Very unique, sinasabi ng international media because the Philippines is a Catholic country. And for the most part, we don't have SOGI protections. We don't have same-sex marriage. For other countries, kasi when they observe or when they do Pride, it's more of a celebration already because they've, for example, passed marriage equality laws. They've already passed anti-discrimination laws. But here, that's the reason why we have to march. First of all, Pride is a protest. Yes, exactly. And then, integrate the celebration within that. So it's all online because, of course, we cannot gather. It's supposed to be in CCP pala. So if people are asking or people are, curious, it was supposed to be in Manila and it was supposed to be in CCP. We weren't able to do it. So the entire month was dedicated to events online. There are a lot of events. Basically, it's more of community meetings, community gatherings, arts, performances. A lot of musical and arts performances were shared. There was a game show, an online game show that was organized as well. And of course, just earlier today, there was a roundtable discussion on the SOGI Equality Bill. So tuloy-tuloy na yan till the rest of the day. And I hope people can join. Just log on to Metro Manila Pride on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay. So, Thysz, just for our viewers at home also who are maybe parang unaware or don't know much about it yet, can you tell us more about the history of Pride March? Why is it both a protest and a celebration at the same time? And how is it important to celebrate Pride now that it's been revolutionized in the Philippines?
Okay, so if people have or if people are curious about the history of Pride, so the very first Pride was in the actually in the 60s, 70s. No, it started first of all in 1969. The precursor of Pride was during the Stonewall riots. So it started as a opposition to the police force trying to apprehend people who were just attending Stonewall, which is a bar in New York. So it was a bar that where LGBT gather. It's like their home, but they're constantly harassed because they wanted to close the bar down for noise and for other complaints. but it became very, very serious. Like they were trying to have gender checks. They would, check women's or even trans women's skirts up, and check them for like prostitution, for illegal drugs. So there's really harassment. Enough is enough. That was the call at that time during the Stonewall riots. And then when they thought, okay, we have to fight for this. There's a way that we can fight for our rights. We can't keep being harassed and have just one area where we can gather. So that's the start of the LGBTQIA liberation rights movement. So a year after that, the United States had their first Pride March, calling attention to gay, lesbian, transgender issues. Of course, the Western world was, it basically in the entire world it scattered the idea of pride. It came to the Philippines in the 90s. In 1994, that was the earliest, and then 1996 there were efforts to stage Pride, but these were not yearly. Hindi pa siya yearly, no? So it was a march, but these were marches. Well, the very first one actually was in 1992, but that's a women's rights march that had a lesbian contingent. So eventually lahat ng iba-iba ng LGBT organizations have gathered, and then they really wanted to have their own version of Pride na parang sa States, no? So yun. So here yung modern iteration ng Pride nangyari siguro 10 years, more than 10 years ago. And increasingly the voice or the call is for it to be to protect LGBT rights in the Philippines, because there's none yet. So yun yung unang naging call. It has a long history. So if people would say, ano ba yan, bago lang ba yan? Is it parang pauso-uso lang? What's that rainbow? What's that rainbow about, diba? So if people don't know this yet, then please educate yourself. It's something that has happened way, way, way before. And it has started first and foremost as a call to action for LGBT rights.
I see. Thank you so much. Para din klaro na it started as a protest, and then in some countries it is a celebration like what you mentioned earlier. Pero sa atin kasi we still have a lot of work to do, and that's why it is a march for us.
Yes.
March.
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to add, because here in Australia, Thysz mentioned about Pride March being a protest. In Australia, it's not really celebrated in June, but it's celebrated in February, and we call that the Sydney Mardi Gras, which is it's basically a celebration, because here in Australia there are laws that are established to protect the rights and welfare of the LGBT community. For example, there's the gender recognition law, which was passed back in 2013, and then just recently the same-sex marriage back in 2017. That was my first year living here in Australia when the same-sex marriage was passed, and everyone was rejoicing back then, I remember. And it's a celebration only because there is recognition already here in Australia, but in the Philippines, I understand the need to protest. We've always been using the word protest, and I think many, even within the community, they're asking, why do we need to protest? We are celebrated in the Philippines, and bakit kailangan magprotesta? Bakit kailangan magalit? Kasi dahil there are no laws and policies that will protect you against discrimination. So we need to be loud, basically.
I think also there's kind of like a negative connotation to the word protest kasi. Parang inisip mo na protest, parang may pag-away ako, manggugulo ako ng mga tao, ganyan. Pero it's really not like that, right?
It's not like that. It's basically speaking up and taking the space and standing up for you, and basically claiming what you're entitled to be, which is to be respected and to have rights as a human being. Yeah.
That's true. All the
Definitely.
issues really have to be brought to the spotlight. And
Mhm.
that's one of the things that we continue to fight for, and one of the things that we're doing here today.
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
of course, of course.
Um, mhm. And I'm so glad that, yeah, that in Australia you say that you guys have reached, that point that you can celebrate, and it is important to have legislative representation, and you are fighting for human rights, basic rights. So it is your right to protest representation, not just culturally, because culturally, we hear a lot that, oh, the Philippines is actually one of the most accepting of the LGBTQI plus community, at least in Asia. So yes, we do have that, but when we look at our laws, we still lack the protection needed. So definitely we do have to protest, and I am so proud that we are still in this fight, and I'm super excited. Actually, pageantry was my route to become closer and to really, have a relationship with the LGBTQIA plus community. Although I do have family, but pageantry really uh, opened me up to the whole community. And we know that the pageant fans, a big chunk of it is in the LGBTQIA plus, and we are so thankful for that. Honestly, we would be nothing without you guys. So I want to go back to like pageantry, where it started, and eventually I want to like let's analyze why we are so fascinated with pageantry here in the Philippines, especially the LGBTQIA plus community and the trans community. So maybe we can go back to the history of pageantry. Um, Thais, I know that you have some knowledge of this because you are also a pageant fan. So could you give us
Yes.
a little bit like a brief history of pageantry?
Of course. Well, as a pageant fan, no, I grew up. The Philippines already has its pageant culture, I guess so. Growing up, trans in the provinces. Imagine I lived, or I'm from a very small town, from Malaybalay City in Bukidnon, and I grew up in a town where the only basis or like people you think or you see are LGBT or gay are the parlorista gays, and they're very involved in staging beauty pageants,
Mhm.
and all their basis is always uh, Binibining Pilipinas, for example, and then the Miss Universe pageant. I am very lucky that I grew up in a very supportive family, and my parents early on recognized that their then son would grow up to be gay and then eventually find herself as a transgender woman. But when I was growing up, there was very little things that you could watch in the television that you could relate to. But one of those things that they really observed in me is that I really love beauty pageants, and I would watch it, and I would want to watch it. My mom wanted it to be more of an inclusive thing, so what she did was she would have viewing parties. The first viewing parties I ever had with watching beauty pageants was in our living room, and with me, my mom, my brother and sister, and she would prepare food. She would prepare snacks, and we would watch Binibining Pilipinas till late night. And we'll keep a notebook of the winners of the different categories, and then so excited if our picks got in. And that was my best memory of my well, one of my best memories of my parents. They both passed away actually already, and but that's how they made me feel accepted in the family.
Mhm.
uh, Watching shows that I feel they felt that mattered to me, and they observed that are important. So from that time, I became, I followed pageants. We can go back to where pageants started. Actually, these are actually marketing, tools for swimsuits and bikinis. So the Miss America pageant started in 1922. It was to promote a new kind of swimwear, which is the bikini. And then, of course, it evolved as a pageant into more of an event that supports and sponsors women's education. So it became a scholarship, a way to gain scholarship for women who want to study. And then eventually, there have been incredible successes in terms of beauty pageants. Like the first Black woman to win in a state level competition was Cheryl Brown of as Miss Iowa. And then in 1984, Vanessa Williams was the first Black woman to win that title. This is all, I mean, a response to everything that's been like what women would ask for is a space. And beauty pageants are like that. It's a response to they feel like they're not given a space.
Yeah.
So beauty pageants are that kind of space. Even if it started as if it was through the lens of men and the lens of the patriarchy. But it's a way for women to reclaim their own space and their own understanding of their bodies. And eventually, those kinds of successes went on in a worldwide setting. Miss Universe, as we all know, has focused mostly on charity work, and of course, most importantly, in HIV/AIDS advocacies. So I think that part of pageantry really solidified in me why I like it a form of competition, basically, because it's still a competition. But the thing is, I don't know. There are controversies left and right, and you as queens have felt that for the most part. As a pageant fan, I feel like supporting you guys and listening to you. That's why your opinion holds water for us. So that's why whatever stand our queens have, that's why it's important, because a lot of you have that kind of influence to us who are even just mere viewers. Hindi eh. We take your word when you have a stand. Inuulit-ulit namin yung mga sagot nyo sa Q&A.
Correct.
Diba?
Yeah.
So kung anong opinion nyo, opinion nyo yan sa mga bagay-bagay eh. Like, for example, a recent example was Catriona's answer to the legalization of marijuana. Anyone who has not yet educated about, marijuana legalization or how it has, progressed, wouldn't have thought of it. But then Catriona had a, positive response to the legalization of marijuana for medical uses. So, at least a door was opened for the mind of somebody who has a closed opinion. And that's how important words are when they come out of a beauty queen's mouth, I believe.
We've been talking about this since our first episode, the impact of pageantry dito sa Pilipinas. Iba talaga. And nagtanungan nga kami noon, sa tingin nyo ba, ano ba yung fascination ng mga Pinoy when it comes to the world of pageantry? I mean, sa ibang mga bansa, hindi naman ganon. Pero dito, talagang lahat ng tao nasa bahay pag may malaking pageant na nangyayari, lahat nasa Twitter, nag-update ng mga spoilers sa mga late na nood. So it's really an interesting phenomenon that is, unique to other countries, but also like very, very prominent dito sa Pilipinas. Trixie, I'm sure that pageantry also played a big role. Ikaw, what was your motivation when it came to becoming a beauty queen and joining pageants as well?
Actually, honestly, in the beginning, parang hindi ko talaga, I never pictured myself competing with other trans girls. To be honest, medyo takot ako sa stage noon, and I don't want to be compared. I remember nung nag-start ako, nag-aaral lang ako sa UP, and then nanonood ako ng mga beauty pageants. And I used to be impressed and amazed by these trans women that I see back in the day. And sobrang takot ako makipag-compete actually. And then I remember there's this one time, one of my pageant mentors in University of the Philippines, Mother Joel, hello. She was the one who encouraged me na sumali ng beauty pageant. At first, I was super scared kasi may stage fright talaga ako. But then, after my first experience, I didn't win. I was part of the semi-finalists, but it gave me some sort of joy and achievement in a way, because let's not forget, many people are downplaying the role of pageantry in the Philippine society. But if we go back to the history of trans pageantry in the Philippines back in the Marcos regime, it's also a form of protest, actually. If you think about it, pageantry, trans pageantry to be specific, was a form of protest. It was started by those closet gays wanting to express their femininity. And so for me, up until now, I believe that pageantry is very big in the Philippines because, for one, the LGBT community is culturally celebrated, even if we don't have laws established yet.
Mhm.
And aside from that, it's a form of expression as well. And we would like to take advantage of that space, of that platform that's available in the Philippines, so that we can voice out our views and our opinions. And for us to express not just trans women, but the entire LGBT community. Because let's not forget, sa mga pageants, hindi lang naman yung mga trans women na nakikipag-compete, yung alam mo yun, yung that are being showcased. We also carry along those hairstylists, those makeup artists, the fashion designers that are part of the LGBT community. So in a way, it's a celebration of the entire LGBT community, not just of trans women.
Mhm.
Actually, kaya natin bringing up yung history ng pageants. Kasi nga, nang nagsimula yung Miss America, it was just really for white women.
Yeah.
White women. And it took more than 50 years for that pageant to crown an African-American woman.
Mhm.
So, matagal.
Wala ring mga Asian, di ba?
No,
wala.
I mean, it was really a space for white women. And because there was no space for people of other races and people who look different, nagkaroon ng iba't ibang mga pageant. Nagkaroon sila ng sariling pageant. Gumawa sila ng sarili nilang space. So, it's still relevant now na pinag-uusapan natin yung pageantry dahil nga napakalaking bagay nang nakita nga natin si Miss Spain, si Angela Ponce, finally making it to the Miss Universe stage. So from the very, very first Miss America, nakikita natin kung gaano nakalaki. And now it's really a celebration of womanhood. A pageant is now, very inclusive, very well-rounded. So I'm sure that napakaganda rin ang feeling for you. I'm sure you have your personal stories as well about that moment.
Ang ganda na nung usapan, pero ayoko ikat. May mga comments lang tayo sa audience na they want us to speak more in Tagalog or Taglish daw. So baka siguro para mas conversational din. So
ayan, okay.
Natitense din ako kasi scary ako. Relax tayo, guys.
Wait lang, guys. Teka lang, iba na ako. Hindi, joke lang. Okay, go.
Okay, game. Tagalog, Taglish. Okay.
And hello to Divinely and DJ Pascual. No. Then
Hi, Beach.
Are here. Hello.
Martin Bautista is also watching. Hello, Martin.
Hello.
Hi.
Maraming salamat. Ayun. So, yung last question mo, Carla, was about Angela Ponce joining Miss Universe.
Yes.
Right. So,
Last comment, yeah.
Yeah, and ano yung, syempre, ang sarap nung feeling, di ba, na parang, na nakasali na siya, tapos, nandun ako, actually, kwento ko lang ng very, very quick. nandun ako. Tapos, nanood ako ng live. Tapos, nung nagkaroon siya ng moment, binigyan kasi siya ng moment mag-walk. Tapos, sobrang nakaka-proud. Tapos, naalala ko, kaway ako ng kaway. Ito, fan moment lang. Nakita niya ako. Tapos, kumaway siya sa akin. Nasin ko yun.
Aw.
Ang sarap.
Yeah.
So, for you guys naman, for Trixie and guys, how did it feel? Like, nung nakita nyo na sumali na siya, that must have been like such a powerful moment. So, but what did it mean to you? We can start with Trixie. Yes, go ahead.
Emotional. Naiyak ako noon. Parang na-validate yung pagkatao mo. Hindi lang yung pagkababae mo, pero yung pagkatao mo. Kasi sa Pilipinas, 'di ba, parang never in my wildest dream na pwedeng ma-allow in the Philippines na magkaroon ng isang trans in binibining Pilipinas up until now. Kasi it's a long way to go, I feel. Kasi imagine mo ba naman ang Soviet Equality Bill, 20 years. So parang, alam mo yung nakakaiyak na posible pala ito sa generation natin. Pero yun, nakakaiyak, and at the same time parang gusto mo sanang ipagdasal na yun sa Pilipinas para naman yung mga batang trans women ay magkaroon din ng ganong klaseng opportunity.
And what about for you, Thysz? Alam ko, you're also a big pageant fan. How did it feel when you finally saw Angela Ponce representing at Miss Universe?
It was an incredible moment. I had to stop myself a lot of times from being really emotional watching her and her journey. Actually, it was a long time coming. We all know that the Miss Universe organization was challenged with allowing transgender women to join the pageant since 2012 pa, when Jenna Talakova challenged Miss Universe Canada organization to join as a transgender woman. And then the Miss Universe organization then was their opinion on the whole matter is it's all right as long as Jenna fulfills the gender recognition requirements of the country where she's from. So by that decision alone, the Miss Universe organization gave the decision back to Miss Universe Canada. And then, okay, if she wins and she is a good, if in your gender requirement, a recognition requirement she passed, then go ahead. She can join. That really opened the floodgates. And then there were other people other women who have tried to win their respective national organization pageants so that they can join Miss Universe. Angela Ponce, after 3 years, was successful with her own quest for the Miss Spain crown. And then, syempre, talagang namin yan, sinundan namin yan kasi excited ako na parang, oh my God, who will be the one to follow Jenna Talakova's footsteps? So, ayun na nga, ang nangyari, Angela was there. There was such a insane amount of publicity about, around her joining. And kasabay pa na we had a very strong candidate. So, parang paano na lang, okay, we're so happy that she's there. Para hati yung puso ko kasi, oh my God, baka pwede pa siyang manalo, di ba? Pero, hindi parang in the end, what really stood out and like what really filled up my heart was her final, speech about she was just being there is just enough. That's it. Yun na there's already a foot in the door. There's already, an opening. It is possible for transgender women to join and participate and create a space for themselves in probably the biggest platform there is for beauty pageants, which is the Miss Universe pageant. So I guess it was an overwhelming time for me, to be honest. I was close to tears many times when I saw her just walk and live the dreams of many transgender women. So, I hope she isn't the last. Yun na
Yeah.
lang.
Correct.
Nakikita ko yung chat natin, ang daming nag-agree, nag-share ng mga moments nila nang sinabi nga ni Angela Ponce na, she doesn't have to win. She just
Yes.
has to be there. At agree tayo, lahat tayo umiyak, nagkaroon ng goosebumps because it was really such a beautiful moment.
Sobra.
Definitely. And it just shows that, some people might think it's just a pageant, it's just a contest. But it's not. That's why so many women fought for so long to enter this quote unquote contest because representation matters. It makes you feel seen. And,
Yeah.
for some people who might think a pageant is just a pageant, it's not. Even when it comes to world politics, some countries don't allow sending of some girls because of politics, diba, Pia?
Yeah, of
Like,
course. And the way
I
the
know.
way sorry, baka lang makalimutan ko yung thought. Alam niyo yung pride na nafi-feel niyo pagka nakatayo si Philippines? Yung
Correct.
feeling na ay, ano yun, kababayan ko yan. Yung pride na yun, ganun din. Yung nararamdaman nila when they see like somebody like Angela Ponce and Miss Trixie Maristela be on that stage, ganun din yung feeling na parang, wow, nakaka-proud. So, doon sa mga, I guess, hindi nila makonect o maintindihan, bakit ba napaka-importante? Isipin nyo na lang yung nararamdaman nyo pagka nare-recognize ang Philippines na lang or Filipino sa iba bansa or anywhere. Actually, wag na natin i-limit sa pageant lang.
Yeah.
Sa lahat. 'Di ba ang sarap ng feeling? And that's all they're asking.
Yes. It's correct representation, definitely. And
That's
I
true.
know that there are so many challenges though, Parang kung pinag-usapan natin ngayon, parang ang simple lang eh. They just want to be represented because they are women. They just want that. But there are so many struggles, and I think it's important for us, especially us allies and other people watching, who might not be facing the same struggles, for us to know what they are. So, Trixie, for you, what are some of the struggles that you have had to go through, uh, not just like in your pageant journey and maybe also your life?
There's so many struggles like any other trans women in the Philippines. I remember when I was trying to apply for a job like 10 years ago back in the Philippines. Um, I almost got the role, kaya lang ang sabi sa akin dun sa final interview is because that's I need they're practically saying na kailangan kong magbihis pang lalaki because medyo corporate yung environment nung pinag-applyan kong job, and that I need to cut my hair short, na kailangan ko magbihis pang lalaki, yung mga bagay na gano'n. And also yung paggamit mo ng CR, ng restroom in the Philippines, struggles like that. And also, for example, yung pagpasok mo ng isang establishment, and haharangin ka nila, tapos hindi ka nila papapasukin dahil you're not dressed according to what as as per them, your sex. So struggles like that. And those are the struggles that many trans women in the Philippines still face right now, dahil hindi na hindi pa napapasa ang SOGI quality bill. And to be honest with you, that's also one of the reasons why I chose to move here in Australia, because I think I moved here not because nag-give up ako sa laban sa Pilipinas, but also like I want to be validated as a woman. Sa Pilipinas, pag nakikita ko yung ID ko at nakikita ko yung gender identity ko sa ID, parang ano ba to? It's not congruent with with how I identify myself. At, many establishments in the Philippines, they treat you based on what's written in your documents, what's written in your passport, what's written in your identification. And here in Australia, I remember every time na magpapa-health check ako, they'd be amazed, like, bakit ganito yung pangalan mo? Bakit siya pang lalaki? And bakit sa passport mo, Mr. to? Yung mga bagay na yun na, here in Australia, it's not a very big issue. And alam mo yun, they treat you and look at you based on how you want to be treated. So, yun yung mga struggles sa Pilipinas, and I'm sure Thysz can relate to that.
Yeah. I think ito nga dapat, parang hindi naman sapat na, okay, sige, lahat tayo alam natin that we should treat each other equally, but it's also important that we have laws to protect us. Kaya nangyayari na may mga umaalis ng bansa, or, I mean, not like there's anything really wrong with that. I mean, to further your studies, for example, or find jobs, that's all good. But then, parang bakit di natin mabigay yung mga ganong klaseng equality at freedom dito rin sa ating bansa, di ba? It's not really, when you share space with someone, it's not like nakikipag-agawang kayo. Parang, and okay, with the SOGI, since we're at the topic of the SOGI bill, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And for people who are watching this right now and don't parang completely understand pa, it's just giving equal rights to everyone. Diba? It's not like parang pagka-share namin tong mga rights na to sa LGBT community, mawawalan tayo. Hindi naman ganun yon. Ang daming misinformation talaga online. And if you guys think that, for example, for women, you think na, ay, sa mga LGBT lang to applicable at hindi tayo affected dito, so hindi siya priority, ganyan. This is for everyone, because even as a woman, for example, if I get discriminated at work and then hindi ako matatanggap sa isang trabaho dahil, for example, for the simple reason na babae ako, the SOGI bill also protects me from that. So, correct. It protects all of us. Yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
Definitely. Because all of us have sexual orientation and gender identity and expression. That is applicable to all. Lalaki, babae, everyone. So we are really just trying to protect, basically not being judged, but by our outer, appearance. It's us saying that if I'm qualified for the job, regardless of what I look like, or what you expect me to look like, or what you expect, or how you expect me to act, regardless of that, at least in terms of my personality. If I can do the job, if I can show you that I can do the job, I have the skills, the knowledge, what is needed for the job, then the job should be mine. And also, that's an equal fight. That's an equal fight.
Parang nag-aagawan na tayo.
Hindi, sasabihin ko lang na totoo, parang limited lang yung oras natin dito sa show. Hindi natin mako-cover lahat ng aspeto ng SOGI bill. Pero magbibigay kami ng mga resources rin sa mga tao na, yun nga, kunyari, hindi kayo masyadong aware tungkol sa nangyayari dito sa SOGI. Then, magbibigay kami ng mga resources at the end of the show para meron tayong, may homework, may further reading na pwedeng gawin. Kasi nga, we're all trying to learn and grow throughout this. Pero alam mo, isang nagsa-stand out dito sa usapan natin is the topic of space as well. Taking up space. Ang ganda na sinasabi, parang may nagkwento nga sa akin na hindi naman parang sorry, ibabalik ko lang sa pageant mabilis. Kasi alam ko maraming nagsasabi na parang unfair sa mga babae. Parang may ganung may ganung perspective na kung may trans women na sasali. But that's not the case. You know, like giving someone more rights does not take away from my rights. Trans are women. Mas magaling siya sa akin. Talo ako. Sorry.
Hindi naman magbabago yung... Yeah,
hindi
that's how we feel, you know? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't take away from our space. We have more than enough space. There are more than 100 pageants in the Philippines.
Yeah, and the thing
Exactly.
with the SOGI bill, it protect kasi if you think that ay hindi naman nangyayari to, accepting naman yung Philippines in general, accepting naman, parang it's not enough just because you don't experience it or you don't feel it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Like swerte, I mean there's a lot of people, marami mga tao na swerte and then they have a good head start in life. So they probably don't experience this as much or maybe at all. But then, paano naman yung mga iba? Di ba? Paano naman sila?
Totoo.
And that's why this bill...
yeah, yun yung kailangan natin. Because, to be honest, it's more of... it appeals to our empathy, no? Think of yourself, put yourself into that person's shoes. If this person has experienced discrimination, kung naka-experience siya ng ganitong klaseng pang-aalipusta dahil lang sa itsura or kasarian or sexual orientation niya, hindi ba dapat mas gusto mo siyang ipaglaban? Kung dapat kung sa tingin mo itong taong to napaisip ka na dun sa nangyari sa kanya, unfair naman yung nangyari sa kanya. Hindi ako titigil sa pagsabi lang ng unfair. Dapat susuporta ako para hindi na mangyari yun sa iba pa. 'Di ba? Mm-hmm. Actually, ito narinig ko kayo girls na you are very important people sa industry nyo. It makes me proud. Natutuwa ako kasi hindi sa amin, between me and Trixie, alam na namin to eh. Between me and our viewers na mga transgender at LGBT, alam na nila yung paghihirap na yan eh. Diba? They all know that. In one way or another, they know it. But you as allies, you who are expressive in your pagiging ally, na sinusuportahan nyo kami at naiintindihan nyo kami, ang laking bagay niyan towards getting more change happen. Kasi sa totoo lang, manggagaling sa amin ang pagdedemand. Kailangan namin ng karapatan. But who will help defend it ay kayo. Mm-hmm. Kayo ang magbibigay sa amin ng pagkakataon because una sa lahat, mga straight at mga cisgender women and men usually ang may platform. No? Mm-hmm. And yun ang kailangan namin. May tinatawag tayong advocacy na tinatawag na pass the mic. Ibigay mo ang mikropono dun sa taong kailangan mapakinggan. Correct. So, pero ikaw na hawak ng mikropono, ikaw may platform, no? Ngayon. Pero ibibigay mo siya sa taong kailangan mapakinggan. Ngayon, kung ikaw yung mabigyan ng mikropono, you get the microphone. And you know in yourself na hindi mo alam. You're not educated enough. You don't know enough about the subject. You can also pass that mic to somebody who knows. Allow, if you've been given the platform by somebody who has the platform, pero hindi mo rin alam anong sinasabi mo or wala ka ring edukasyon dun sa dapat mong sabihin or kinukuhanan ka ng opinion, then pass it on to somebody who does. Diba? Yun yung advocacy ng pass the mic. So, aside from taking up space, allowing them to take up space, let them speak and listen to them. Yeah. If you're given that space, if you're given that microphone to express, but you don't know enough, then pass it on to somebody else who does. Yeah. Yun yung ano doon. So I guess in terms of the whole, kasi marami tayong nababasa ko yung mga comments na mga na nasa live stream natin. I just want to address completely that siguro Trixie will have her own time for sure to say, but kasi may nanghihingi doon ng ano ba talaga yung stand nyo sa pagsali ni Angela Ponce sa Miss Universe. Plain and simple. She has to be there so that she can represent transgender women as part of what women is or what womanhood is. Mm-hmm. You cannot exclude trans women when you talk about womanhood. Because if you do, then ano na lang kami? We exist. Andito kami, oh. Mm. And we're not just people who from usual representation na mga nasa parlor, nasa entertainment industry. A lot of us are scientists, lawyers, doctors, professionals. We're in all industries, trans women and men. So that kind of representation is very important. And Angela Ponce being there, again, I could say, is a foot in the door. Isa siyang naging bukas, naging an opening, nabuksan niya yung pagkakataon para sa iba. And that's what's important. I guess Trixie has something to say about it, like just to for sure say what is her stand with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually I'm very amazed at how like Pia, Carla, Bianca, and all the other queens, like even Catriona Gray, expressed their full support for Angela, for for trans women, um, to be given a space in a then cis women only space like Miss Universe. Um, it's very empowering, and I would like to thank you girls for doing that. It's very empowering for us to hear it from someone who's not from the community, but who um, for people like you na nagtatry na maintindihan yung struggles namin, and
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. And I think what's happening within the LGBT community is that yun nga, katulad ng sinabi ni Pia na oh, okay naman sa Pilipinas, celebrated naman kayo, pwede naman kayo, you're free to express yourselves, and accepted naman kayo ng mga tao. But I think what we need in the Philippines is to go beyond acceptance. And in saying that, I'm really hoping and praying and pushing for laws such as the SOGI Equality Bill, hopefully in the future gender recognition law, and
Yeah.
hopefully same-sex marriage as well to be legitimized in the Philippines, because acceptance, for me medyo ano siya, parang hindi siya sapat. It has to be legitimized for it to be complete.
With something like the Soji bill, honestly, I don't understand why it has to take so many years
20
for
years.
I don't understand. And then other things, ura-urada, andyan na, ilang linggo lang. Anyway, since we're talking about being allies nga, sa mga nanonood ngayon, hindi naman din sabihin nila, pass the mic, use your platform. But what if yung mga nanonood ngayon, wala silang following, wala silang audience, wala silang platform? How do you become an ally exactly? How do you become an ally, and how do you practice it at home or within your friends or your circle? We can start, I guess, with Trixie. Say it, Trixie. Parang
Listening, basically. To become an ally, you just have to lend us your ears and listen to our struggle, and something like this. Like let's have a chat, let's have a discussion, and let's see what else we can do and how we can help you. And first is by listening, and by maybe understanding as well our struggle, perhaps by maybe not just having a chat, but also by like reading literatures, or reading books, or even watching films that are LGBT themed. I think that's one step. And also aside from that, let us not forget that alam mo yun ang bawat LGBT individual na dinidiskrimina sa Pilipinas, meron diyang mga non-LGBT, like parents and sisters and brothers na nasasaktan. So yun lang.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Hindi lang siya masasaktan ng nanay niya, masasaktan ng tatay niya, masasaktan ng kapatid niya.
Totoo. What about
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry,
Mark.
I was just thinking that it is really just a good reminder for people to remember that we are all people. We're all people. We all have feelings. We all have a mom. We all have a dad. We all are brothers, sisters, all of that. And I just segue ko lang, so I just want to remind everyone in the chat group Please be kind to each
Ano bang
other.
nangyari?
Yes. Huwag tayo mag-away-away kasi lahat tayo magkakasama tayo. Parehas yung pinaglalaban natin.
Yes.
So, napaka-importante
This is
na,
what's up.
yeah, exactly. Napaka-importante na we're all holding each other's hands, sama-sama tayong matuto. Ako personally this week, na-experience ko nga yung really trying to educate myself, talking to a lot of different people from the community. And iba rin talaga, I think that's really a good start sa pagiging ally. I mean, sorry, ako yung nagsasabi sa sarili ko, pero kasi ang dami ko natutunan. Talaga. In 1 week, just talking to everyone. Kasi never ko maiintindihan eh. Kasi iba yung experience ko eh. Pero just hearing the stories, para ngayon tayo, may platform tayo para mas maganda yung pag-express natin, pag-explain, para ma-encourage rin yung mga ibang tao who might not be as knowledgeable about the different issues na hinaharap ng komunidad dito sa Pilipinas. Para maging mas open na ang ating mga puso, ang ating mga isip.
That's true.
Thysz, do you have any advice sa mga nanonood ngayon na nagtataka tinatanong nila yung sarili nila, hindi naman ako pageant beauty queen, wala naman akong maraming followers, how do I become an effective ally?
To be honest, start within your own families. If you truly believe and you value, that human rights are supposed to be equal to everyone, and it should be extended even to LGBTQ members of society, then start with your families. It's not, well, definitely you should start with yourself. When you want to be truly an ally, then educate yourself. After that, pass on that education. Whatever you know will be useless because it's only yourself. If it's hard to talk to family about it, then start with your circle of friends. They might be more understanding, or this is an experience I could share. For example, probably the hardest people to not convince, but to talk about and start opening up about gender or sexual orientation or LGBTQIA issues are straight men. And for the most part, when they do understand that they want to be educated, they will look for you and they will ask you. So sabihin nila parang Thysz, ikaw lang ang kilala kong transgender. Tapos sasabihin ko sa mga lalaki kong friends, bakit? Bakit ako lang? Tapos sasabihin nila, diba? Diba? Sabihin ko, bakit? Bakit ako lang? Sasabihin nila, kasi parang ikaw lang yung kaya kong kausapin, tsaka parang nakakatakot sila. Parang hindi ko alam kung paano sila i-approach. Do you think that fear, kung ano yung kinatatakutan nila is warranted? Bakit ba? Nandito naman ako. What questions do you want to ask me? Mm-hmm. And then they start asking questions. And I would be open. So hanapin nyo muna yung platform na gusto nilang umintindi. Both with men and women, hanapin nyo muna yung common ground na, okay, nasa pareho tayong standpoint na gusto nating umintindi. Wala tayo sa standpoint na gusto kong mang-ridicule, mamahiya, o tanungin ka ng mga bagay na sensitibo. I know Trixie would probably have the same experience, na we get asked a lot about what's in between our legs. Diba? Parang, naipagawa na ba yan? Ano ba yan? Parang, diba? And they use these really weird terms na parang may flower ka na ba? O parang, totoo bang, ganito mo? Ano bang ginawa mo dyan? Yung mga ganon. Usually, these come in really, very curious talaga yung kung saan sila nanggagaling. No? Pero, ang kailangan kong mapaintindi sa mga taong ganito ang inappropriate magtanong, unang-una, i-realize nyo, bakit kayo ba, tinanong ba kayo kung anong nasa in between your legs? natanong na ba sa inyo ever kung ano yung nandyan? Kung gaano siya kakaiba? 'Di ba? Then they will realize, oo nga, no? Hindi naman tinanong sa akin kung straight ba ako or cisgender ba ako o nagmamatch ba yung gender ko sa genitals ko. There's no question on that. Or even the mere, and I know Trixie would have the same experience, saan ka umiihi? It's such a common question to transgender women. 'Di ba? So parang ako, when you start asking the appropriate questions, you will get appropriate answers.
Yes.
That's what I believe. So, kung sa tingin mo you're coming from a place na okay, I'm coming from a place na gusto kong umintindi at matuto, then the person na kausap mo will feel that at sasagutin ka rin na parang, okay, gusto niyang matuto. Ito ang pwede mo matutunan sa akin. So to become better allies, just to close off this segment, to become better allies, start within yourself, educate yourself, and pinakamalaking bagay to educate yourself ay magtanong at makipagkilala sa mga LGBT. Kasunod nun, ikalat mo yung nalalaman mo.
Correct.
Kasi again, wala siyang silbi kung nasa loob mo lang siya. Ano yun, alam mo na yung transgender, may mga ganitong issues na pinagdadaanan, pero pag nakita mo transgender sa daan binabastos, okay lang.
Oo.
Be that person who can defend, support, and help educate other people to have the same respectable stance on transgender women, LGBTQIA.
Yeah. I think also another thing let's watch our language when we think nobody's really listening or watching. Kasi kunyari, sa magbabarkada, yung mga terms na ginagamit pag nagbibiruan, mga inappropriate na siguro yung marami dyan. So, that's also, I think, minsan kasi parang, wala namang nakakarinig, ganyan. Sabihin natin to ganyan. Parang, kailangan i-correct mo rin yung mga friends mo na mali yung mga ginagamit na words, di ba? That's also like a small little way of how to be an ally is correct, educate, and yun.
Tama. Be that opposing voice.
Yes. At saka, pag meron kang na-encounter na baka kakaiba yung opinion nila, just always remember to be kind and respectful. Dapat maging tayo, in-educate natin sarili natin, pero wag tayong cancelled ng mga tao kasi everyone, canceling a person invalidates that person. Parang, dyan ka na lang. Hindi ka na mag-grow. Pero lahat tayo, dapat may karapatan tayo to educate ourselves, to allow other people to help us to learn. So, let's just always remember to be kind and respectful when it comes to also reaching out to other people.
Yes.
I do agree.
So,
why?
No, go ahead.
Sorry. I just wanted to comment on the whole cancel culture. Because why are we so, let's say, we are trying to fight to change the world. That's basically what we're trying to do. When we stand up for the rights of people, when we fight for equality, that's fighting to change the world. And how do you change the world? You change people. That's how the world changes. So canceling people, telling them that they're worthless na, that they're stupid, or all these negative things does not help a person change. If anything, mas sinara mo yung utak ng tao na yun, mas sinara mo yung puso ng tao na yun. If we really wanna, change the world, change people, it's about love. Because when you look at hatred and injustice, all of that stems from fear. Fear of someone that you don't know, fear of something you don't understand, fear of something that is apart from you. So if we can, take away that fear and change it with empathy, understanding, putting yourself in that person's shoes, I think that would create so much more, um, you know, movement and change than canceling someone. You know, that would help.
That's one of the biggest lessons we've had, I think, in the past week, na hindi mo mabibigay sa iba yung wala sa loob mo. So, kung meron kang galit, meron kang fear, then those are the people who hurt other people. Pero kung i-open mo yung puso mo and you're full of love, then you exude that. Yun yung nabibigay mo sa ibang tao. So I think it's really trying to shift everyone to that, more of that loving attitude at tanggalin nga itong mga negativity, the hate, the fear. And we do that by talking to each other, having these conversations, studying, and educating ourselves.
The other, for me, those are all valid. But the extreme side of that is what we call toxic positivity naman.
Yes.
So that's what we want to avoid. And to be able to do that, kasi both things, when they, pag nag-uupugang bato, yung dalawang bagay, masyadong negative, masyadong toxic naman yung positivity, hindi rin maganda ang nagiging effect. Ang mas maganda niyan, to be honest, if you are conscious and na maglabas ng opinion, or if you're fearful because this space baka hindi niya tanggapin yung opinion mo na kasing what you think is parang nako katanggap-tanggap, okay ba tong opinion ko, or bara-bara na lang ako magsabi, di ba? Then avoid that by, of course, first of all, educating yourself, di ba? The resources are already, it's everywhere. You can verify and re-verify resources. At this point in time, it's, to be honest, a sin to be ignorant. So my appeal to everyone, if you're very scared of being canceled, but then maybe first of all, educate yourself if there's an opinion you want to try to put out in the world. But and on the other side naman, dun sa viewer, yung sa mga tatanggap ng opinion, maging mas empathic ka naman. Have more empathy with the people. Sinasabi ko nga, ang may take sa cancel culture is, wala namang talagang taong naka-cancel kasi kung totoong ang cancel culture, matagal na rin nawala ang mga sexual abusers, mga rapists, matagal na rin silang walang trabaho, walang platform, but they're still there. So maybe what we should, beyond canceling, the goal to cancel people, or hashtag, when you remove them from that space, let's look at the systems that need to be changed. I think that's what's more important. Why do these people say something that make them cancelled? What systems allow them to say these things? So yun, I guess, yung kailangan nating i-balance. Kasi if we talk about parang, no, you cannot be too negative or blah blah blah, hindi rin yun. That extreme is also bad.
Yes.
Then of course, when we go back na parang, no, you can't be all positive, nakakasuka, ganyan, that extreme is also bad. So if we're appealing to everyone to, form your opinion by educating yourself.
Correct.
And then when you're ready to share that opinion, then look at that space and then express that opinion. If you do have a wrong opinion, then look at why it was wrong in the eyes of somebody who says it's wrong. And then react accordingly. Apologize if you have to. Walang bayad ang apology. So you can apologize and change.
Completely
Yun lang
agree.
naman.
Very well said. Tama naman na parang hindi naman, ang dami nga nating pinaglalaban na lang tayo, happy sa tabi.
Yeah.
I just want to add,
Go ahead.
cancellation goes against yung basic objective of Pride, which is basically to empower the community. So I think the best way to go about it is, yes, to voice out what to have a dialogue basically, and empower each other. But before I believe that you can't give what you don't have. So in order to empower other people, you have to empower yourself by But yeah, by understanding the struggle of the community. And yeah, so hopefully let's not cancel anyone. Instead, let's empower each other. And that's, I think we would make a big progress by doing that small step.
So can we say cancel the opinion?
Cancel the cancel.
Cancel
Yeah.
the opinion, not the person.
Not people.
Not the person.
Yeah. Okay.
Empower
you
the
go.
person, cancel the opinion.
Empower the
Perfect.
person.
Our
Yes.
I love that.
Kaya siya Reyna, guys. Kaya Reyna yan.
yeah.
We're gonna open the floor to a couple of questions as we move forward with the discussion. So, mag-aano muna tayo. Mini Q&A. So, kanina pa, very active ang ating chat. So, thank you so much once again sa lahat ng mga nakatutok ngayon. Happy Pride sa inyong lahat. So, go ahead and type in your questions para masagot rin namin yan as we move on to the second hour of our show. Ayan, sabi ni Gerald, hi Queens, question ko lang. If you're given a chance, paano nyo mai-encourage ang Senado para ipasa ang SOGI bill?
Can I go first? I have a...
Go.
Yeah. Kasi, to be honest, okay, so before we had this talk or this show, no, we were in this show, Metro Manila Pride had a roundtable discussion on SOGI bill and SOGI equality bill. And in that 1 hour, it was presided by another trans sister of ours, Pat Bringas. I want to say hi to Pat if she's watching. Yeah, Pat is also your org mate, right, Trixie, in Babaylan? Yeah. Yes. Mm-mm. So, Pat presided over that roundtable on SOGI equality bill. I learned a lot, no? But the bottom line is, paano natin encourage ang Senado para ipasa ang SOGI bill? Kung wala sa Senado ang mga tao na kaintindi, first of all, kung bakit importante ang SOGI equality bill, I don't think they're gonna pass it at all, no? So, I guess let's, for right now, kung kaya natin silang ma-convince na importante ang SOGI equality bill, kasi yun nga kanina, siguro hindi na-miss lang natin ng konti, no? SOGI equality bill is actually an anti-discrimination bill. Therefore, it does not serve any particular segment of society. It serves everyone.
Yes.
It's a bill to promote anti-discrimination on basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. We all have that. Okay, as human beings, we all have our own SOGI. Now, to answer the question directly, no, if we know that the people who represent us in the Senate or in Congress do not believe in our fight for anti-discrimination, we are free to replace them through constitutional means, and that's through elections.
Correct.
Right? That's the only way. They're supposed to be our representatives. And if my representative does not represent my values, I will not vote for that person. Because when the time comes that they will be asked, anong kailangan ko? Anong anong importante para sa akin? Importante para sa akin yung anti-discrimination bill. I will, from this, I will gain respect. I can fight for myself because may batas na. Pero kung yung nagre-represent sa akin dun sa Senado at sa Kongreso, hindi pareho ng values ko, then walang mangyayari. So let's vote for leaders who can represent our values, who think that anti-discrimination law in the Philippines should be present. And that's it.
Tama naman. Because kahit naman gawin natin to araw-araw, alam mo yun, hindi pa rin, walang real change na mangyayari kung hindi makakarating dun sa Senado, di ba? Kasi we can keep doing this, we can keep talking about it, we can keep raising awareness, pero we need these laws to be passed. Like, we need to apply them for real change to happen. And that, of course, kailangan we put ourselves in the position na sa elections, pipiliin natin dapat talaga ng mga tama na mga tao for that
I
purpose.
agree. And there's an entire, time that they will, nanliligaw sila ng boto natin, di ba? That's the campaign season. During that season, we should be mature voters. We should demand answers. So, for the most part, they go around and they, alam mo yun, nagpa-party-party, mga kung ano-anong mga mga meeting the avance, mga kung ano-anong events nila. That's high time for them to answer our questions then in public.
Yeah.
Mr. So-and-so, Mr. Congressman, ganyan-ganyan. Do you or do you not support giving anti-discrimination protections for everyone, basically?
Yeah.
And especially experienced by LGBT. And then they'll have to say yes or no. And then you get your answer. If they say no, then I'm not gonna vote for you. I'm sorry.
Kasi like, for example, sa akin din naman before, I would also ask myself like, okay, what can I do kaya? Isang tao lang naman ako, anong pwede kong magawa? But then, nakakalimutan natin na, wait a minute, like, pwede akong bumoto. And then, that's where I have the power. I may only be one person, but then that's the whole point of these discussions is so that we can educate everyone to hopefully be with us in this fight.
Unfortunately, for now, yun lang with the structure of the government in the Philippines, yun lang talaga yung pwedeng magawa natin as ordinary individuals to vote for the right representative. I just want to share in Australia back in 2017, you know how they passed the same-sex marriage law is it's through election and election by the people. And here in Australia, their form of government is representative democracy, wherein the people has a say on what laws that should be passed. And then, luckily, majority of Australians voted yes for same-sex marriage, and that's how they passed the bill. And unfortunately, in the Philippines, we don't have that. So it's really just by voting for representatives whose principles are congruent with the principles of the LGBT community.
Yeah. And parang not a lot of us are voters, honestly. Lalo na sa panahon ngayon sa mga marami ang hindi voters. Pero, you know what? It's not too late. And it's not too late. Ngayon, sa mga nakakapanood nito, isipin mo na, naku, parang huli na ba? Actually, hindi pa. Diba? Like, now is like, we can start right now, actually.
That's the action. Go out, register, and vote.
That's true. And just to be very specific about it, July 1 ang start ng registration. So you can go to your local COMELEC at pwede kayong pagpunta doon, mag-register starting July 1.
Yeah, that's a reminder to us too. We should register and we should finally do this and make a stand.
Tsaka, yun nga, just do like your research, tulad nga sabi, be very aware about what these people stand for. More than ever, we have to demand more from the government. Kasi nga, we've been talking about it this whole show, ang layo pa ng kailangan nating marating. So, again, babalik tayo sa being aware about what's happening in the country, being educated, and making informed decisions when we go out there to vote.
Okay. So, shall we continue the discussion?
Come on, let's go. More.
Okay.
So, may mga questions pa tayo kay Trixie, di ba? Meron pa tayong... Oh, yeah. Interested ako sa ni Trixie eh. Go.
Trixie, gusto ko malaman kasi nga, lahat tayo lumaki, really loving pageants. Babalik lang ako sa pageants ulit kasi gusto ko rin malaman, sino ba yung favorite mong beauty queen at bakit siya yung talagang, why is she the queen that you really looked up to?
Pwede bang favorites na lang?
Favorites, go! Totoo naman, mahirap pumili ng isa.
Right now, you're putting me on the spot, but because I have a soft spot for girls who are allies, I have to say Carla, Pia, and Bianca are my favorite beauty queens.
Aw.
Thank
Kinilig
you.
kami.
I love you, girls. No, that's right. And then also our very own Catriona Gray. I love queens that are supportive of the LGBT cause. So I look up to you as well, to you girls, and yeah, thank you for this dialogue, for
Oh,
this
no.
space.
No, of course. Thank you na pumayag ka rin. So, gusto
Yes.
naming actually marami kaming tanong, so siguro we'll take turns. Interested kaming malaman yung pageant journey mo, paano nag-start, ano yung nag-inspire sa'yo. Because I think this will also give a glimpse to what a trans woman goes through. Like, okay, it's dito in a sense of a pageant, yes, but then life.
Yeah.
So, sige, let's start with why did you want to become a beauty queen? Alam ko lagi naman to natatanong, pero bakit nga ba?
Actually, to be honest, yun nga, medyo, I have a stage fright when I was starting, but then it became some sort of an advocacy for me. I was studying back then nung nagsimula ako mag-pageant, and then I was juggling it. Like, sumasali ako ng mga pageant sa mga barangay, but at the same time, nagsa-study ako noon. So it's very, very challenging, but it became sort of an advocacy for me para naman you know, hindi lang yung mga stereotypical pageant joiner na alam mo yun, na maganda lang, or alam mo yun, gusto kong kumbaga parang makita ng mga ng ibang tao na actually magaling naman pala talaga sila, at you know, they have a voice, and they're very opinionated. It became an advocacy for me at the beginning, and then yeah, for me naging platform siya para sa akin. You know, it's like my way of being an activist myself, because bago ako nag-start sumali ng beauty pageant, I'm part of UP Baylan, which is Thysz org as well. So, ayun, and yeah, dun siya nag-start.
Nag-freeze ba si Mar?
Can you
Oh
see
no.
Hello?
Hello?
May delay konti.
Naghang yung hining ako kasi akala ko na nagkaroon tayo ng next song.
Sorry. I
Yeah.
had to move devices. My device died, and I'm on my phone. I'm kind of hanging right now. Ako lagi may technical difficulties. So sorry. Sorry.
Okay. Ibabato ko na lagi yung next question. Gusto ko lang malaman, Trixie, since you joined Miss International Queen, ano yung mga differences na nararamdaman mo when it comes to like the beauty standard between, yeah.
I think trans beauty pageantry is essentially patterned to the traditional pageantry for cis women.
Yeah.
The only difference is in trans pageantry, it tends to be hyper feminized. Medyo exaggerated yung, like for example, yung mga national costume, yung mas creative and exaggerated yung swimsuit, yung long gown. But because for us, expression of our creativity and artistry. So, ayun, but and then like recently nakita ko even in cis women pageants, naging din, like the national costume is ostentatious and extravagant. So that's the only thing that differs. But yeah, it's apart from that, you know, it's very similar to like Miss Universe or
Trixie, go ahead, Mar.
I just have a comment. Like hyperfeminism is already kind of spilling over even into cis women. Like if you look at the Kardashian family, you know, they're very hyper feminine with the small waist, big hips, and something that cis women are also striving for. But I guess it just shows that you know a lot of women there a lot of women out there do have opinions that they feel that trans women are separate from women because of experience. But I honestly believe that parehas, marami pa rin tayong parallel experiences. I mean, we might not have had the same exact struggles. Of course, the journey is definitely different. But there are still a lot of issues that parallel each other. I guess even in issues like being sexualized, you know, being objectified. Na our standard of beauty sometimes comes from the male gaze, you know.
Yeah.
Are those like issues that are also prevalent in the trans woman community?
From how I see it, I don't really feel objectified at all. For I don't know. From my point of view, it's more of celebrating the transitioning that we had to go through, and that's why alam mo yun, kaming mga trans, parang we just want to be proud of the transitioning that we've been through, and which is why every time that we show up on stage, we want to be hyper feminine because we were celebrating the body, because for us it's an achievement, and it cost a lot as well, to be honest. It cost a
Yeah.
lot, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. So yeah, it's for me. It's like just feeling good about ourselves and loving ourselves, and um, yeah. But I'm not sure. I can't say the same thing for cis women pageants like you. But I don't see it as objectification of our body.
I
Trixie, you
have
mentioned. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, sorry, I just have something about. I think the difference is due to the audience. So Miss International Queen's audience are mostly trans women and gay
Correct.
men.
The LGBT.
So
Yeah.
so the LGBT community. So I mean, in terms of who looks at them in terms of like kung nakaka-sexy ba, or like are they completely objectified? It's such a small subset ng it only exists in, like, for example, Miss International Queen is in Pattaya, and we know Pattaya is like it's a capital, and a gay capital of Thailand, basically, entertainment ruled by transgender and gay individuals. So siguro dun na po nagiging mas less yung objectification, or like at least the women who join the contest do not feel as objectified compared to like pageants like Binibining Pilipinas or Miss Universe, where the eyes and ears, like ang daming lalaki na involved. Hindi lang kasi babae ang, I mean, sige, sa nanonood marami ding Becky, pero hindi lang kasi yon. Ang people who manage it and who are behind it, marami pa ring lalaki, marami pa ring who can undermine what the whole thought of having the pageant is about. Maybe that fear is greater in cisgender pageants or Miss Universe, like for example. But in Miss International Queen, it's a little bit, the audience is a little bit smaller and a little bit more specific. So siguro for the woman who joins those pageants, hindi niya masyadong na-feel. But for sure there are ways that it could still, exist. But we might need the opinion of other people. Like siguro, I know Trixie, you have competitors who are also black, and they might have experienced some form of racism. If you really wanna discuss and ask them about it. So yeah, so there may be some few things that are really challenging as you know also somebody who joins those kinds of pageants.
Okay, that's really interesting to know because yun nga, parang we're really learning more about it as well now. Can we touch a bit more on body politics? Kasi ngayon nga, parang, a woman isn't really defined by her biology anymore. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
Okay, maybe I'll go first, but very quickly, then Trixie can answer, expound on it more. So what, in terms of body politics, when you say a woman is only defined by her feminine features, so to come with her being born as a woman, like her breasts, like her vagina, pag sinabi mo kasi na hanggang dun lang ang babae, tinitingnan mo siya as just as a body part. Diba? Hanggang dun lang. Kung ang sinasabi mo ang babae ay pagiging babae ay sa kakayahan niyang magkaanak, then you've limited yung woman or yung womanhood sa capacity lang niya na magkaroon ng anak, di ba? Which is not true for a lot of women.
Yeah. Not all have that.
Exactly. Not all women have that capacity. And nililimitahan mo rin siya na para na lang siyang, ano ba siya, paanakan na lang? Yun na lang yung use niya? Diba? Is she just a vessel for men to have, children? So, naging ano na siya, anong kinaibahan ng babae sa pagbe-breed ng aso, pagbe-breed ng pagkain hayop na kinakain natin? 'Di ba? Pagpaparami lang ba? Reproduction lang ba ang silbi ng babae? And more so, sexual pleasure. Kaya nga tinitingnan ang boobs, ang suso as something na offensive tingnan at tinatakpan. Kasi ang tingin sa suso ay very sexual, when in fact it's a source of nourishment and food.
Yeah.
Oo nga.
Para sa mga baby, 'di ba? Kung hanggang dun lang ang pag-intindi natin sa katawan ng babae na ang suso ay para sa pag-nourish ng babies, ang vagina, ang uterus, kung if she is able to bear children, then she will use it. And even though she can, mayroon siyang desisyon na hindi natin siya pinapangunahan. The body politics of womanhood, first of all, is something that's only her own. And that extends to our kind of womanhood, which is being transgender. Wala kami nun. Lahat nun, kailangan pa namin ipagawa. 'Di ba? And it takes so much para makross namin yung line na yon kung magpapagawa ba kami o hindi. But even so, it's our decision. And it doesn't mean that if we don't want it or if we want it, we are less or more of a woman. Again, being a woman and our gender identity is what's inside.
Correct.
So when we say and define, it doesn't happen overnight. My God, hindi siya. If some people, make it as if it's an overnight decision na, ay, babae na ako. No. Talk to any transgender person that you know. It's an entire process. It's a long, long journey to self-discovery before you can even say out proudly that I am a trans woman. So the body politics of it all goes all back to kung ano ang gusto niya. Okay? A lot of it is reclaiming. Kukunin ko ulit.
Yeah.
Or affirming. So you reclaim what's lost and then affirm what's there. Kaya tinatawag ngayon ang sexual, noon ang tawag sa sexual sex change surgery. Napaka-old na term ng sex change, diba, Trixie? Ngayon ang tawag dyan ay gender affirming surgery. So you're affirming what's already there. So if kung may mga tao tayo, yung mga tagapanood na hindi pa yan naiintindihan or first time yung naririnig ngayon, then please open your mind to that. It's something that is important to understanding transgender identities. Trixie, ikaw naman.
Yeah, I agree. Sabi nga ni Simone de Beauvoir, one is not born a woman, she becomes one.
Uy, gusto ko yun.
Oo.
Ay!
Isusulat ko siya.
Ako din, sulat ko yun. Sulat ko yun.
Yeah. Ilabas ang
Mga notebook, mag-notes na
Note-taking na
kayo
tayo.
mga mamsi, mga nanonood nito ngayon. Hindi pa late. Pwede nyo i-replay ito at kumuha kayo ng notebook, magsulat na. And educate
Yes.
our friends and our families. Let's do this. Ano ulit yun? Ano yun?
She becomes one. It's by Simone de Beauvoir.
Okay.
Yeah.
She becomes one. Ganda.
I love that.
Yeah. Ang galing, no? Like, you really still learn so much by having these conversations. Akala mo, parang, hindi, okay na to. Sapat na yung alam ko, pero you still, like, learn really so much. Just going back, Trixie, to your pageant journey, balik lang tayo ng just a bit. Very curious ako, and I'm sure curious din ng mga viewers natin. You won Miss International Queen, but was there ever a time that when you were younger, did you ever dream of becoming Miss Universe or Binibining Pilipinas? Or hindi? Curious lang. This is out of curiosity. Okay.
I many beauty queens back then, but never in my wildest dream that I would be a candidate or I'd be in Miss Universe or Binibining Pilipinas, only because I'm very realistic in the society that I grew up in. Na parang medyo I don't think it's possible, but that's why grabe yung reaction ko nung nakita ko si Angela Ponce in Miss Universe.
Yeah.
Never, it wasn't my dream, but at the end of the day, so life led me to this world, to the pageantry world. But Miss Universe, Binibining Pilipinas, hindi ko na nakita yung sarili ko.
Yeah. I mean, it's not to say that one is more important than the other, right? Hindi naman din, it's not our genders that make us win or make us queens. It's yung kakayahan mo, yung katalinuhan mo, yung kakayahan mo, yung abilidad mo. And wala naman yun sa ating gender. So anyway, aside from, parang ako na, guys.
Si Pia kasi talaga yung namin question asker.
Di ba sa barkada, laging may isang makulit na maraming tanong? Ako yun. So, sige, one more question. Ano naman yung, alam natin how it changed your life and it gave you this platform and it made you become the woman you are today. Pero challenges naman. Marami ka nang sinalihan na pageants, pero what were some of the biggest challenges na ma-share mo sa ating audience? Ayun.
I think aside from it cost a lot as well to join pageants, especially the preparation, the long gown, swimsuit, the costume, it cost a lot. And also the preparation is not just limited to that. Like you have to when you're transitioning, it's part of the preparation as well. So those are the struggles basically. Like for example, for trans women transitioning, like taking hormones and all the hormonal changes, the mood swings, and stuff like that. Those are some of the challenges that I experienced joining beauty pageants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was there any challenges with using your voice or acceptance? Yung sa ganong part naman, meron din ba? I mean, I'm sure meron, pero kwento mo lang.
When I won Miss International Queen, that's such a very big responsibility for me because everyone regarded me as a voice of the trans women community all over the world. And I'm sure, Pia, alam mo yung feeling, di ba? parang it's such a big responsibility, and people, um, bawat galaw mo sinasagod ng tao at bawat sasabihin mo gagayahin nila or pakikinggan nila. Kaya sobrang, for me, that's a very big challenge. Kaya because of that, parang I took responsibility and I had to listen to my community. I had to like have a dialogue with the trans community, not just in the Philippines, but all over the world, learn from their struggles. Because when after nung nanalo ko ng Miss International Queen, everyone was looking up to me and telling me that you should lead by example. But I think if you want to lead, you have to listen as well to your community. Kasi how would I lead if I don't understand the struggles of my people?
With the crown really comes great responsibility. Kasi nga, parang ito automatic platform. Use it well. Pero syempre, sobrang empowering rin. Kasi grabe yung pinagdadaanan before you get to that, the pinnacle of your pageant career. Like, how does, when you have that platform, talagang kailangan, you use it to empower other people as well.
Yeah.
That's right. And now, there's also a lot of things to do when it comes to empowering other women. Thysz and Trixie, I want to hear, how you do that personally, how we empower women all throughout the Philippines, well, all over the world, because, the platform reaches out internationally as well.
I think the first step towards empowering other women is to empower yourself, because again, you can't give what you don't have. So learn the struggle of the feminist movement, for example, and how the feminist movement is actually not that different from the trans movement, for example, or the LGBT movement. And by reaching out and having a dialogue like this, you are empowering us, and hopefully we're empowering you as well. So that's it.
Yeah.
Ako for
Trixie,
me,
go ahead.
yeah.
No, sorry. May delay lang kasi. Sorry, go ahead, Thysz.
Ay, okay, sorry. Well, quickly lang din, no? To be honest, tama si Trixie, it has to start with yourself because you can't share what you don't have. So it puts a huge burden on self-education and really trying to understand what it is you want to empower within yourself so that it could, ma-share mo sa ibang sa mga kababaihan. I always want to say na hindi mo kailangan magkaroon agad ng napakalayo na reach, no? Dito ka mas sa mga mas malapit sa iyo. Mas importante at mas makabuluhan ang change na pwede mong gawin kung itong mga nasa malapit sa iyo ang una mong makausap, mapaintindi at mapakita kung bakit kailangan mo silang i-empower. Nagsimula sa pamilya, sa mga kaibigan, sa komunidad. And I guess kung gusto mong, lahat tayo may platform, believe it or not, lahat tayo may platform. Ikaw na tindera, for example, na nasa kalye, na gusto mong i-empower ang kasamahan mong kababaihan, then meron kang platform para maging mas komportable sila na pag sila ang bumibili sa'yo. Diba? Kung ikaw naman nasa professional na setting, nag-work ka sa opisina, ikaw na babae, maging alay ka nung kasama mong babae. Huwag mo siyang i-put down, 'di ba? Women have to support women. 'Di ba? Ang expectation sa babae ay makipag-away sa kapwa nila babae for some strange reason. Parang bakit kailangan magpabidahan? Be that change. Empower the other woman, 'di ba? Huwag mo siyang hanapan ng gulo na wala naman diyan, 'di ba? Kung salbahe talaga siya, okay, fine. Pero it's rarely like that, 'di ba? Parang we try to present our best selves all the time. Diba?
Yes.
So, and when we find those people who are kind and share the same values as us, and then we could educate them and then empower them. We have meron tayong sarili-sarili nating spheres of influence and or platforms. We can do something in our own little way, and if many people do that little way, it will become a bigger way, 'di ba? So eventually lahat na tayo kayang mabago yung sistema, which is what we want to change. We might not change it as one person right now, but if we can do it na mas marami tayo, then that system can change. There's a possibility.
Thysz, that's such a good point. It doesn't have to be a big thing, and hindi natin kailangan na mag-antay. You know how we wait for things to happen in our life na akong yumaman ako, makakatulong ako. Yung
No.
may malaking factor. No, like we already have the power to do that. Take the power, you know, and do it. Like little things will add up to so much. So thank you for, Trixie and Thysz for sharing
Oh, thank
these
you.
thoughts with us.
Thank you.
Mar, are you okay? Welcome back.
Grabe. The struggle is so real, guys.
Feeling ko na stress si Bianca talaga. Oh my God.
Welcome back daw, sabi ng viewers natin.
Oo. Sabi nila nahilo daw sila, pero sabi nga
Iyak na ako.
nahilo ang wifi. All right. You know what? I think we have some time. Like we're nearing the end of our show. Pero we have some time to open up the floor once again to any questions. Meron ba kayong mga tanong, comments, suggestions?
Okay, guys. Yeah, we're opening the floor. Ooh. Okay. So while we wait for questions to come in. Ayan na pala. For Queen Trixie, for you, what is the sensible approach to address the conditions that leads to trans women exclusion in our society? Pang pageant to ah.
Oo nga. Thank you for that question.
Nakakaloka pa. Steve Harvey, ikaw ba yan?
Okay. Wala namang time limit, so sige.
I think I'm just gonna repeat what I've been saying. Education is the most sensible approach. Educating ourselves about the struggles of trans women, because transphobia stems from that fear. Stems, like I think Carla mentioned it already earlier. That fear stems from something that you don't understand. So maybe trans women exclusion is the same thing. If you educate yourself about the struggle of trans women, sort of like yung recently BLM or Black Lives Matter. I'm not someone who's learned about their struggle, but I feel for them and I'm empathizing with them, which is why I had to do my own research, and I had to read back, study, and read documentaries about the situation of our Black brothers and sisters in the United States. Although I've always been seeing a lot of films about their struggle back in the 1950s. So educate yourself. Reach out, and that should be a good start for me.
Very good. And I thank you. Maraming
And
salamat for that wonderful question.
Here's a question from Mark. For those who want to transition or would just like to learn about the trans community, any org or institutions where they can go to?
Nice.
Yes. Oh my God. So I've been actually waiting for this, to be able to highlight the work of our transgender sisters who are leading transgender organizations in the Philippines. So we have a lot. Would you believe marami tayong transgender organizations? And we are led, marami to, hindi lang transgender women, tsaka transgender men. So for transgender women, we have STRAP, Society of Transsexuals in the Philippines, and Ganda Filipinas is also a trans-led organization by Naomi Fontanos, who's very active in the anti-discrimination bill, passing it, hopefully becoming it into a law, and grassroots organizations such as Diosa, led by Tanya Laging, and there are many others who work in the grassroots. No, so Strap and Ganda Pilipinas are all like they're more of national level organizations. Also school organizations. So I want to give a shout out, of course, to UP Babaylan, who's always been, that's the home of the LGBT in UP, kung saan kami galing ni Trixie, no? Well, UP Diliman kami pareho. But in other schools, they've been progressive enough to have their own LGBT organizations you can also have resources for transgender individuals. LaSalle has their own, surprisingly.
She and then even Ateneo has.
Ateneo has, oo. Ateneo has at Dollhouse, yeah.
Yeah.
Dollhouse in Ateneo, led by many good friends as well, and other organizations, school organizations that you can learn about being trans and how to transition. But if you do want, okay, so here's the thing: if you're a trans woman, a young trans woman, you're a girl, no? Let's say you have found it very early in yourself that you're trans, or a trans man. Okay, sorry, hindi ko pa na-mention pala yung trans men organization. So we have Pioneer FTM, Pioneer Female to Male. So that's one of the trans men organization in the Philippines, and many others. But yes, if you want to learn about transitions, I suggest that you go directly to a doctor. So there are resources online where you can find doctors in the Philippines who are experts in transitioning for both female to male and male to female. Because I will tell you right now that when you transition by yourself, it's very dangerous. Okay? So, tama, diba, ate? Nako, marami na tayong horror stories na narinig na nagta-transition ng sila-sila lang, no? So, seek medical help immediately. Okay? But if hindi nyo kaya, I mean, financially, or you're a minor, then I guess, first of all, open it up with these organizations na name check natin, no? Kasi they can offer resources for minors, they can offer counseling, and they might not be able to offer financial help, but at least resources where how you can safely transition when you are able to. But then again, I would like to underline, it's not a requirement. Okay? If you want to learn more about your gender and what you are, transitioning is not a requirement. You are free to determine that on your own. So, yun lang naman ang ating message sa ating mga nanonood sa atin ngayon na transgender. If you want more resources, it's available. To be honest, if you can tweet me, message me on Facebook or on Instagram, let me know, I'll help you.
I don't have Twitter, but I have Instagram and Facebook.
There we go.
Yes, you can reach out to me.
Okay, we have another question to everyone. Oh, Mela! Wait, by the way, can I just quickly say thank you kay Yanyan, kay Jan Lee. Muti ko na sabihin dati. Sorry, Jan Lee and kay Mela, because they spoke to us the other day. And thank you so much for talking to us, taking the time. Hanggang 2 a.m. na yan, nagkukwentuhan kami. tungkol dito. I mean, kay Thysz, tapos also the Love Yourself team also really helped us a lot. So kay Yan, kay John Lee, at kay Mela, thank you so much. All right, to
Thank
everyone
you.
from Mela, if you were to give a hashtag to unite all women, what would it be and why? Ooh.
Pwede ba ako sumagot? Ayaw mo unahan.
No.
No, ako, empower. Because you should empower yourself and empower others. And we should all do that together. Yeah.
I agree. I second
Hashtag? Ano kayang hashtag? Kayo guys, yung mga viewers natin, baka may mas maisip kayong mas witty na hashtag. Diba?
Sorry naman. Na sobrang obvious na sa akin.
One thing I've from previous.
Maganda naman yun. Peace.
Bumawi ka lang.
Hindi ako nakinig. Sorry.
Hindi, joke lang. O, go.
Meron ako naisip na word from before, mga siguro early 2000s. There was a movement, no, to equate womanhood and its place in humanity. So they coined a term, which I will say hashtag womanity. So yeah, so like being human and woman, diba? So it underlines the humanity, the part of being a human of a woman, diba? So that's what it is. As women of different forms and shapes and experiences, there's only one thing that makes us equal, and that's our humanity. So that term coined before as womanity is something I could really appreciate, that we can use to unite everyone.
I love that. Womanity.
Agree. Money.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Marami nang gumagamit ng hashtag, guys. So, feeling ko mag-work tong hashtag women in all form. Women or woman? Women or woman? Woman.
Ang
Okay.
ganda.
Babae ako, ikaw
And-
tayo.
By the way, I also want to say thank you to Divine Lee for helping us connect to Trixie. Maraming salamat. Ang galing kasi so many friends in the industry, also allies, help us connect to each other para we can educate each other more. You help us and educate us, empower us. And maraming salamat kay Divine na ginulo ko rin ng hanggang madaling araw. Maraming salamat. And kay Vin of Love Yourself, na hanggang 2 a.m. may kinugulo ko rin. Maraming salamat. And again, kay Yan, kay Janly, at kay Mela. Ang dami naming natutunan sa kanila din talaga. Maraming salamat. So yun, yung mga pa-thank you, inano ko lang. Sinabi ko lang. Okay.
So, we have time for another question from John. Ano masasabi niyo sa mga hinuli kahapon ng police na nag-celebrate lang ng Pride Month?
Very
Thysz.
wrong.
Yeah.
Napaka-wrong. Okay, so this is personal, because to be honest, we were Bahaghari, the organization that was arrested, unfortunately yesterday, and with it was violent in a sense that hindi man lang sila binasahan ng karapatan nila, hindi man lang sinabi sa kanila kung ano yung violation nila. Sinunod naman nila yung mga kailangan gawin pag merong mga gathering, kasi nag-social distancing naman sila, naka-mask. They just wanted to really, go out there on the streets, make themselves heard, and then peacefully disperse after. But they were may intervention ng ating kapulisan. So, na hindi naging marahas, no? And sabihin na natin na ito'y hindi siya magandang simula dun sa dapat selebrasyon ng Pride, no? Bagkus it allowed us to underline pa na Pride is a protest primarily protest. One of Metro Manila Pride's trustees is part of the Free Pride 20 na aresto kahapon. So, kasamahan namin, imagine, nandun ngayon sa kulungan. It was such an unfair thing for the police force to do. And we must fight so that they can get out of prison. Kailangan mapalabas sila. Yun nga lang, very unique yung challenge nila kasi nga kailangan pa nilang malaman kung magkano yung bail, no?
Yeah.
So, actually kung sa may mga may mga nanonood who are following me, umaapila ako na tumulong tayo, magbigay tayo sa donation fund ng Free Pride 20. Marami po silang nakakulong, nasa 20 po sila. At kailangan po nilang ng tulong natin para makalaya. Imagine wala silang violation, pero hinuli sila at nakakulong. So, we don't want this to become a precedent kasi ito yung kinatatakutan ng karamihan. Kakalabas lang ng anti-terrorism bill na magiging law na eventually. I know, right? Kasi naipasa na siya ng ganun kabilis. Totoo, Trixie, di ba? Pag sa mga usaping ganyan, bakit pa napakabilis? Pag sa SOGI equality, taon-taon ng inaantay. Di ba? Ano bang benefit ng, ewan ko hindi ko na lang sasabihin yung para hindi na humaba masyado. Pero sa feeling ko, the fears that we have, ito na, nagmamaterialize na. And it was just so unfortunate that it was, protesters who are our friends in the Pride movement na sila pa yung naging unang biktima.
Yeah.
So, nananawagan kami, sa totoo lang, sa ating mga viewers, suportahan natin yung mga kaibigan natin na hinuli ng wala naman lang nasabing violation. Intindihin natin bakit kailangan natin siyang, idagdag yung boses natin as suporta. Another queen, Catriona Gray, has been very vocal about it. So, idagdag natin yung boses natin because para sa sarili din natin to.
Right after
for the people, go ahead.
I was just
yung
gonna ask
donation,
for-
ano lang yung details.
Yeah. Hindi, pareho tayong sasabihin. Yung donation details. And I was just gonna say na after the show, let's all, you guys can go on our social media accounts. Ipopost namin yun lahat para makuha nyo rin yung details if you want. Yeah, to be able to help.
Thank you so much for this platform. So yun ang masasabi ko. Dun sa mga nahuli kahapon ng police, it could happen to anybody right now. So like, let's help. Let's add our voice so that we can protect more people who just want to peacefully air their side, you know.
All right. So we've come to the end of our show. 2 hours na tayo. Parang ang bilis lumabas because this was really such an enlightening conversation. Yeah. Ang dami nang nag-request ng part 2. Actually, nag-part 1 at part 2 kami kasi usually 1 hour lang ang ating show. But I'm happy na, yun nga, marami tayong mga comments na nakita ko na ang dami nagsasabi na merong naiiyak, merong maraming natuto dito sa usapan natin sa Queentuhan. So I just wanna ask our 2 special guests, Trixie and Thysz, final messages na lang sa lahat ng nanonood ngayon.
Happy Pride Month, everyone, and I just wish everyone in the community all the best in the Philippines. Let's continue protesting and celebrating at the same time, and let's empower each other.
Thysz?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I will point my final message to the youth who are watching this live video, no? I want you guys to know that the reason why we add our voices to Pride as a protest and a celebration is because it's for you. And the goal of Pride is to have no more Pride. Hindi na natin kailangan siyang i-celebrate. Aabot sana tayo sa punto na hindi na natin kailangan magmarcha, hindi na natin kailangan mag-celebrate dahil lang gusto natin ipalabas yung totoo nating sarili kasi nalilimit tayo. So this is for you, the youth today. And once you have it, once you experience the many things na hindi namin na-experience before, opportunities that are given, that weren't given to us necessarily, take care of it. And continue to fight so that many more generations will experience this. And let's all go back to what Angela Ponce said basically, because that's the root cause of the reason why we have this show anyway. Whatever, being there is enough. Taking space is enough. Being past the mic and being able to talk is enough. But what is not enough is when we say that we've achieved some sort of equality when we have not. So let's continue fighting for that. And I thank you.
Thank you so much, Trixie and Thysz. Talagang na-appreciate namin lahat ng natutunan namin sa inyo, yung mga kwento nyo. So, thank you so much for making time para makipagkwentuhan ngayon.
Ako, magpapasalamat ako sa inyong tatlo. Syempre, unang-una, kasi kung hindi nalalaman ng lahat, tumawag tong tatlong to sa akin kagabi para alamin kung paano ba talaga to, di ba, i-navigate. That in itself, to reach out, was very much appreciated. I would never have thought that you would. But thank you for sharing your platform. It's important for allies to do this, okay? Not just us talking, but you offering us your platform. Before I say goodbye, I just want to say hi to friends who are watching. Ludwig, Raf, and Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. And also to Miss Gina Rosero, who sent me a message on Facebook supporting me and Trixie that we are talking and speaking about transgender issues today. So Miss Gina, if you're watching, we love you and thank you so much for that message of support. It matters so much.
Ako din, can I say thank you?
Yes.
Go, Trixie.
To my friends, Tintin, Michelle, Iya, thank you to my family. I miss you. To my family in the Philippines, I missed it. That's all. I love you all.
We miss you here, Trixie. Sa totoo lang. Oh my God.
Thank you so much. You know, like, ang daming napag-usapan, pero marami pang kailangan mapag-usapan. Marami pang kailangang matutunan. So we actually compiled a list of resources. Thank you to our friends again from Love Yourself for also telling us which resources to be able to put here. So we have documentaries, we have articles, anything that you might want to know, the basics of Soji. We are going to put up resources after this if you want to learn more and to educate yourself and to become a better ally for the community. But thank you so much for now. That's all the time we have. So thank you so much for joining today's episode of Queentuhan. Happy Pride, everyone!
Happy Pride! Thank you so much!
Bye!